But they also took some scenes inside what to me looks very much like the actual palace. And it gives you an idea of what went on that secret floor in there.
From Rome, the Inquisitor's office. A cesspit of heresy and fornication.
Oh, sure. Oh, they mean us.
We still don't, however, see the room where they did the questioning, or the posh cells under the roof where they held Casanova and he could entertain his friends and whatnot. I think we could call this the secret police department run by the Council of Ten. They knew everything everybody was doing, although they had to manage without telephone tapping and reading emails.
And it's happened before.
You are charged with debauchery, trespass, heresy to wit, fornication with a novice.
Oh, she's hardly a novice.
For which the punishment is death by hanging tomorrow at dawn. And this time, your admirers in high places won't be able to help you.
Excuse me, Inquisitor. The Doge. D'Alfonso.
We're back out in the courtyard now, and over to the right there is the flight of steps with the two giants at the top. A newly elected Doge would be crowned with his special Phrygian cap between these two, Neptune and Mars, also by Sansovino. We come out now to the north side of the cathedral into Piazza dei Leoncini. In this area is the tomb of Daniele Manin, who revived the Republic in 1848. We now walk past the front of the cathedral to this corner. Thought to be made in Egypt and thought to represent the four people who ruled the empire under Diocletian. This entrance to the palace courtyard has a representation of justice at the top, also figures of temperance, fortitude, prudence and charity, and a representation of Doge Foscari kneeling before the Lion of St. Mark. These pilasters from Acre, with rare Syrian carving, were liberated from the Genoese in 1256. I'm afraid I've been able to mention such a small proportion of the things that are worth looking at around here. So we'll now take a very brief glimpse at the outside of this palace. On this corner, the Judgment of Solomon. On this corner, Adam and Eve. And here we've got a different Doge and probably a different lion as well. This is our last day in Venice, and we've got about 2 hours of light left, or half light anyway. We arrived with the intention of sewing up Venice and all its wonders in 4 days. We did nearly 2 of the 6 walks. We didn't get to Torcello, but we did do the secret itinerary, even though we couldn't take any pictures. But look, we've still got 2 hours left, so let's head off eastwards along the Riva delle Schiavoni. This will bring us to a church called La Pieta. Its association with Vivaldi and its connection to the Foundling Hospital needs a longer film to explain. The work with orphans is commemorated in this plaque above the door. This further plaque explains how the new building was built by Massari with advice from Vivaldi. And I understand that this plaque promises dire consequences to anyone who palms off a child as an orphan when he isn't. Here is Vivaldi, and just behind the church a little museum dedicated to his work. And a little further down, the arsenal, where Venice could turn out a ship in a day. Now then, besides this classical doorway that's been inserted into the walls, we've got a collection of statues and a fine collection of moggies. There's another one. And there's rather large one, looking fairly pleased with himself. And on the other side, one that you could perhaps say was on guard. And above these, above the doorway, of course, we've got the Lion of St. Mark. We're not allowed inside, of course, because it's still a military base. So just down the road here to San Martino, which was closed. So I think we might just be able to get in one more, possibly. I'd like to see San Zaccaria, but on the way here we see the Leaning Tower of San Giorgio, the Greek Orthodox church. This was open, but there was a warden type chap inside who wouldn't let us take any photographs. And there he is. So we sneaked up to the door when he'd gone and took some pictures through the glass window, and then got this picture from the internet to give a little clue. At the entrance to Campo di San Zaccaria is this old plaque which tells you that you can't gamble, argue, curse or fight here. The present church was begun in a sort of Gothic by Antonio Gambello in 1444 and finished in the Renaissance style by Mauro Guducci in 1515. This little garden of trees here is thought to commemorate the assassination of two doges. The interior of San Zaccaria is like an art gallery, and no one stopped us using a camera. The star attraction, though, if we can use that term, is Giovanni Bellini's recently restored Madonna and Saints. This is one of the many paintings and other artworks looted by Napoleon, but it was returned after 20 years. Others are still in France. We've come through a doorway now into part of the original church on this site. It's now used as a sort of museum. I should say here that San Zacharias was the father of John the Baptist, and I am told that the body of San Zacharias is still in this church. Now, if you do have a crypt in a church in Venice, this is the likely result. As to Venice, well, Venice is unique, of course. It's like being on another planet, or being in one of those imaginary cities in imaginary worlds that you find in novels. One of Venice's problems is that tourism, with the money it brings in, is the answer to some of its other problems, but is also a problem in itself. I suppose the real residents of the island, a shrinking number I understand, feel swamped by tourists. I do sympathise, but considering that I failed to sew up Venice in 4 days, I have to say that if I am spared, I plan to return with camera.